I am essentially holding 3 printers in my hand at one time. Hello everyone and welcome to Cricketing with Delonda. It's me again, Delonda, and thank you so much for joining me today. I use these 3 boxes of infusible ink to make 2 t-shirts that I know you're going to love. One of them I'm wearing right here. I use the red and black infusible ink, and on the other one I use all 3 colors. I cannot wait to share this process with you. And at the end of this video, that's not true. I didn't use all 3 colors on the other one. I only used the red and green. But anyway, at the end of this video, if you find this tutorial helpful, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications because I do upload new content every single week. Now, without further ado, let's get started. The materials I will be using for this project include my Cricut Maker. However, you could do this project from any Cricut cutting machine. I will also be using my HTV Ront Auto Heat Press. The link for this heat press will be placed below the video. I'll use 3 different colors of Cricut Infusible Ink. I'll use green, black, and red. I'll use a lint roller, butcher paper, 2 Cricut shirts, 2 men's medium Cricut shirts, and I will use several green standard grip mats. Okay, now let's head over to the designbundles.net website so that I can show you the files that I will be using for this project. And we will move over to Cricut Design Space so that I can show you how I sized my files and prepared them for cutting. The first thing I'm going to do is go to the designbundles.net plus membership site and do a search for just the phrase "'tis the season." This is the one that I really like right here. This one that says "'tis the season to sparkle" with these snowflakes around it. So I'm going to click download, and there should be a folder that pops up at the bottom left of my screen. And so I'm going to get that downloaded, and I'm going to close this out. The other file that I'm going to use is just one that says Christmas Vibes. Notice that this one kind of looks like it has a black layer behind it. So hopefully once I upload it to Cricut Design Space, I'll be able to remove that or just try to work with it the way that it is. I am in Cricut Design Space, and the first thing I'm going to do is upload the file that I plan to use. I'm going to start with this one that says "'Tis the season to sparkle." When the file comes in, I can see that it is unlocked, and I'm going to go ahead and lock it. The next thing I'm going to do is bring the view down on my screen to right at 50% so that I can see the whole file. Now, if you saw the tutorial that I did with the Cricut wine bags, you might remember that I said I like it when the files are layered like this because it really does give you an opportunity to personalize the files the way you want them. The next thing I'm going to do is ungroup this file, and I am going to click on the word sparkle, and I am going to change it to red, and I'm also going to change the words "'tis" and "the" to red. Okay, and okay, that is really ungrouped. Make sure I'm changing the dot and the I to red. All right, let me bring the view down and make sure I can see the whole thing. I'm going to click select all just to select everything on my canvas. I want to move it over here so I can make sure I'm not missing any of those dots when I get ready to change the rest of the colors. So now that I have the words "'tis" and "the" changed to red, I am going to select them in the layers panel, and I'm going to hold the shift key, and I'm going to attach them. So I just want all of my red pieces to be attached. Now, if this doesn't work, it's because I have my files still grouped, but I am hoping that I don't. So I'm going to click, I have them both selected, the tis and I have the word sparkle. I'm going to click attach. And what that did was attach everything I have that is red. The next thing I'm going to do is select all the rest of this, and I am going to change it to green, and I'm going to make sure that it is also attached. So now that when I'm ready to get this cut, I'll have two mats. I'll have a red layer for one mat, and I'll have a green layer for my other mat. Now, once I put this all back together, if I wanted to put it all back together to see what it will look like on my shirt, I can select the whole thing again, and I can align it, and I can center it so that I can see what the full image will look like. Now, this is still not ready to be made per se, because I can see that this file is too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab a t-shirt template. So I'm just click on templates and go to classic t-shirts. And what I know about templates is that they will not actually be cut. They're just for reference to help you with sizing your image. So I'm going to be using a men's short sleeve medium shirt, and the color of it is white. Okay. So once I have this whole, let me click that. Let me make sure I have the whole thing selected, and let me make sure it's aligned and centered. Let me just group it for now, just for now. And I can look at this and see that it's bigger than the shirt. And what I know is that Cricut Design Space will allow the image to be 11.5 in width without going into having an error message. So I can just go right here on my width, double click in here, and change the width of the file to 11.5. Okay. And I can move it over, and I can see that it's nice. It's a nice size. It's big. It's easily readable from a distance. So I'm going to leave this file just like this, and this one will be ready to for me to click make it once I'm ready. So I'm going to just move this one over here for now, and I am going to upload the second image. So I'm going to click upload, and I'm going to select this one that says Christmas vibes. Okay, now this file is going to be a little bit different to work with. Now I do still think this is a good file. I love it because of the way that it's layered over here in my layers panel. I can see that there is a red layer, there's also a black layer, and I can separate the words and move them how I want to pretty much. So what I want to do first is select the whole file, and I am going to ungroup it, and instead of using this file the way that it is, I am going to change it just a little bit. And the reason why I'm going to change it is because I know that with Infusible Ink, I cannot layer one layer of Infusible Ink on top of another layer. Now I can do something that makes it look like they're layered, but they actually won't be layered on top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the view up on my screen, and I'm going to scoot it over just to make sure we can see everything that's going on. I'm going to bring the view up to 75%. Now I have already ungrouped this file, and what I want to do first is select this part of the file that says Christmas. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have a red layer and I have a black layer. If I were to move the red layer away, you can see that this black layer is completely filled in. And I know that if this was red infusible ink and this was black infusible ink, I could not just put the red layer on top. However, I do want this outline. I want the outline that's there, and I like it just the way that it is. So what I'm going to do is I am going to select the word, both layers, both words, Christmas, and I am going to align this, and I'm going to center this, and I am going to slice it. Now when I do that, it is going to give me my red layer, which is right here. It's going to give me this inner layer, which is right here. I'm going to take this out and I'm just going to delete this because I don't need it. And it'll also give me this black layer. Now this black layer is what I plan to use as my outline for this red layer. So this will be red infusible ink. This will be black infusible ink. And I plan to do my very best to get the red placed on the inside of the black. I'm going to do the same thing with this word vibes. This has already been ungrouped. So I'm going to select the word, both layers of vibes, and I'm going to slice it. Now notice I did not resize it. All I did was select both layers and slice. I'm going to move the red layer out, move this inner black layer and delete it. And I'm going to put this red layer back on top of this black layer. I'm going to select both. I'm going to click align and I'm going to center, and really it's not going to matter because what's going to matter is what I do once I get over to the mat. Instead of having the file like this, the way that it was at first, I want it to be more, I guess a little more centered. So I want it to be like this. Now, what I'm going to do is select the red layer and the black layer. So I'm going to select both red layers. I'm going to select the first red layer, which is Christmas. I'm going to hold my shift key. Then I'm also going to select the red layer in vibes. I'm going to do it from over here in the layers panel. And I am going to attach those. Okay, so now I have my red layer just like this, and I have my black layer just like this, and I'm going to go ahead and attach those. Okay, so now once this infusible ink cuts out, I won't be worried about, is it centered, is it right? I know that this should be able to fit on top of this layer, and it should be a perfect fit. So now I am ready to click make it, because now what I have are two images that I plan to use on two Cricut shirts, and hopefully this comes out well. So when I click make it, essentially what I should have, and this is my way of double checking myself, is I should have two red mats. Okay, because I should have a red mat for this. I should have a black mat for this. I should have a red mat for Tis the and Sparkle, and then I should have a green mat for Season. Okay, so I'm ready to click make it. Okay, Christmas vibes, that's perfect. I am going to mirror this. Tis the and Sparkle, I'm going to mirror this. For the green layer, that is a lot of green to be cutting out, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to mirror this. And for Christmas vibes, I'm going to mirror this. Now with infusible ink, it's important to remember that the ink is going to go on the mat facing up. However, all of my images will be mirrored. We are ready to click continue. I am going to choose the infusible ink transfer sheet setting, and I am going to turn mine on more pressure because sometimes I feel like mine doesn't cut all the way through, and I definitely need it to cut all the way through. So all four of my mats are mirrored, and I'm using the infusible ink transfer sheet. Everything that I'll do from here will be back on the camera. With infusible ink, the ink is placed on the mat facing up. The first box I'm going to open is this black box. So when I open this box, you'll see that the ink is actually in a bag. So I'm going to take the bag out of the box, and I'm just going to use my Cricut knife to open the bag. When I take the ink out of the bag, you'll see that the color is not vibrant at all. It actually looks very muted. It looks brown almost. And what you'll notice about infusible ink is that butcher paper actually comes in the package. I typically don't use this butcher paper, but you can. It's perfectly fine. I just don't for some reason. The next thing I'm going to do is match the size of the infusible ink to the size that I need cut. So for this first layer, I need to go all the way from the top at least down to the 6-inch mark. So I'm going to remove the cover from my mat. And I am going to place the infusible ink on my mat face up. Okay, just like this. Smooth it down, and I'm going to grab my brayer. I forgot to mention that in my tools again. I always forget to mention it. You will need a brayer working with infusible ink. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut this because I only need this bottom, the top half. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other mat. So my next mat is red. Now that I have all 4 of my sheets of infusible ink on the mat, I am going to go ahead and move over to the Cricut Maker so we can get this cut. The mat is loaded in the machine. I have my cut setting on infusible ink transfer sheet. Let's get this cut out. I'll speed this part up. What I'm going to try to do is take this off and fit it in here. All right, we are going to give this the what? Good old college try. All right, today we will be using the HTV Rod Auto Heat Press. I'm going to turn it on. If it's flashing like this, that means the power is off. I'm going to turn it on. It heats up really fast. I'm going to set the temperature to 385 degrees. Press the temperature again. I'm going to set the time for 40 seconds. So I'm going down to 40 seconds. Heating up. Let me say that Cricut shirts are 95% polyester and 5% elastane. Infusible ink is intended to be used on polyester. So this is the perfect shirt for this. I prefer Cricut shirts when I'm using polyester because I just like the quality of them. But you know, as I always say, it's a matter of personal preference. So here's the shirt. I am going to go ahead and lint roll this. The heat press beeped. We're going to get butcher paper to put on top to protect the top platen. We'll push this in. Make sure you can see it. And we will press this 385 for 40 seconds. Now the heat press has beeped and it does do an auto raise. Let me make sure I mention there's butcher paper inside the shirt. Then there's the infusible ink on top of the shirt. And then there's butcher paper on top of that. Okay, so let's see what we are working with. And I did not use heat resistant tape. And so hopefully we did not get any ghosting. Let's see, let's see, let's see, let's see. Let's see if I scoot it back a little bit. Okay, you should be able to see that. Ooh. Ah, look, I did not get good pressure right there. I did not get good pressure right there. Guess what? I am going to put it back down right there. I am going to put this back down at the top. And I am going to hope that I don't get any ghosting. I don't have any ink on this, so I'm going to use this again. Do we have our fingers crossed? I love it, y'all. Look. Look at that. Look at my infusible ink shirt. It's super hot. It's super, super hot. Let me zoom you out so you can see it better. Okay. So this is the first shirt. Look at how vibrant that is. Now you remember how dull the colors looked at first, and you see how big this image is. And remember, with infusible ink, the ink is in the fabric. So remember, look at this. Let's look. The ink is in the fabric. See that? See that? The ink is in the fabric. Look how big that is. This is gorgeous. All right, so now let's try the second shirt. I'm very nervous about the second shirt because of that whole layering thing. We're gonna see how it works out. All right, I have my second shirt and I have butcher paper inside. Now this is a layered file. This is unheard of, okay? And it might be unheard of even after I do it. Because it might not work, but we shall see. We are going to give it the what? Good old college try. We are going to give it the good old college try. Oh, let me do a pre-press. All right, and hope that is straight. Butcher paper on top. Butcher paper don't stop. 40 seconds. I think I want to increase the time. I'll do 50 seconds. I don't think it'll hurt anything. It beeped. Crossing our fingers that this worked. I'm very nervous about this. I'm not even going to lie because I've never done anything like this. Now, I have tried a lot of different hacks, but I have not ever tried to do this. So I'm zooming you in so you can see it, so we can all see it at the same time. It worked. It worked. It worked. It worked. I see a little bit of light right there, but baby, it worked. Okay, so look, I see where it's light right here. So I'm gonna just try to do it one more time. I'll press that one more time. For a few seconds. I got it, y'all. I did it. That is infusible ink layered with an outline. What? What? Okay, I did it. Now let's kind of recap. Now this is the shirt that I made that I was a little bit afraid of making because I have never like layered like this, and I love the way this came out. I love it. I also love this shirt right here too. Look how big that design is, because with infusible ink, you're not limited to that 9.25 by 6.75. It's not like that, but you're going to get vibrant colors. And with infusible ink, remember the ink is in the fabric, not on the fabric. Now, if you haven't gotten started with sublimation, this is definitely the way to go. If you found this tutorial helpful in any way, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications, because I do upload new content every single week. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thanks for watching.